Hey, this is Diane.
Hi, this is Jessica, and we hope that you enjoyed last week's paracord bracelet craft.
And as always, the craft and the food is provided by the Friends of the Library Bookstore.
Now let's go ahead and get started with this week's craft. Hey everyone, so this week we'll be making some dream catchers. In your packets, you will be provided with all these materials here. First, you'll have 3 sets of string tied like this. The first bundle will have 4 strands of 200 centimeters. The second bundle will have 9 strands of 150 centimeters. And the last bundle will have 5 strands of 150 centimeters and 3 strands of 200 centimeters. You'll have a wooden ring, some wood glue. You'll be provided with some feathers, and you will need to gather some scissors, ruler, a pen or marker, and some tape. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, to start off, you're gonna work with the bundle that has 8 strands. 5 of them will be 150 centimeters long and 3 of them will be 200 centimeters long. You're gonna start off with grabbing one of the 150 centimeter length strands, and you're going to measure it to be half so that it loops on one end just like this. Then you're gonna grab a 200 centimeter strand and also measure it halfway, just like this. And you're gonna use this loop and loop it under the 150 centimeter strand. So you're gonna loop it under, then you're gonna pull through. And then you're just gonna tighten this knot. And you're gonna do that with the other 2 strands of 200 centimeter lengths. You're gonna bring this to the top of your table. And now working with the 150 centimeter strand, you're going to bring the right over the left to make a circle just like this. Now you're gonna grab one of the 150 centimeter strands and you're going to measure it halfway, grab the loop and bring that under and over and pull through, just like we did before. And do that with the other 3 strands. You're going to pull these 2 strands to the side to tighten the circle. Go ahead and just make this a circle. So now we're gonna flip this over so that the 4 strands are on top and the 3 strands are on the bottom. So it was on this side, now it's on this side. Now we're gonna start our weaving pattern. So these are our 2 side strands. And these are the 3 that we knotted in. We're going to work with these 2 right here. So now you're gonna grab your piece of tape so that we can stabilize the top of this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tape this right about there. Okay, so now that we're gonna be working with our 4 strands, I went ahead and I labeled each strand. I do this in my head just to make it a little bit easier, but I put it here on the table just so that you can visualize it better. So we're gonna start off with grabbing strands A and B. We're gonna bring A over B. So now B strand is in your left hand and A strand is on your right. What you're gonna do is bring the B strand over A and under it. Then you're gonna pull through. And you're gonna tighten it just like that. Now you're gonna do that again. You're gonna have, this is your B strand still. You're gonna bring it over A, under, and pull through the B with your left hand. So now we're gonna work with C and D. We're going to bring D over C. So now C is on your right hand and D is on your left hand. Now what you're gonna do is you're going to bring C over D and under, and pull C with your right hand. You're gonna tighten that. Make sure these knots are nice and tight. Do this again. You have C and D. You're gonna bring C over D, just like that. Then you're gonna bring it under, and pull. And now you have your first knots. Now we're gonna go ahead and continue this with doing it all around to make our first layer. Okay, so now that we're gonna continue going around, what you're gonna wanna do is remove the tape, and you're gonna put it onto the one on this strand here. So we just made 2 knots here. The strand that we have not worked with, you're going to tape that on the top, just like that. So now we shift. So now we will be working with the next 4 strands here. Now we're just gonna keep moving this tape over and keep working with the next 4 strands until you're done with the first layer. Okay, so now that you've done your first layer going all around, you created these 2 knots in each division. So now you're gonna work with these 2 knots right here. You're going to grab C and B. You're gonna bring C over B. Then you're gonna bring B over C, just like here, and loop it under. And you're going to make this knot right about there. This is your next layer, so you want to make sure that you give it enough slack. And you're gonna do the same thing, over, under, and pull. There you go. And now we're gonna move on to the next 2 right here. And now you're gonna work all the way around until you get to your starting point. Okay, so now that you completed your second layer, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna work with the strands that you have not weaved yet to make your next pattern. So we have our 2 knots here and these single ones here. What you're gonna do is you're going to grab C over B, then B over C, just like the last knot, and also make the same length as the other ones. And again, the same knot as we were doing before. And if you see, we're creating our pattern here. And so now you're gonna work with, do this along the circle with the other strands that we have not touched yet. We're just gonna do that going all the way around. Okay, so now that you've created your second layer, you can kind of see the flower forming. So now we're gonna move on to the third layer. What you're gonna do is you're gonna work with the 2 new knots that you have created. So I'm gonna choose these 2 right here. So now, moving the other strands away, we have a new A, B, C, and D strand. Just like the last knot that we did, we're gonna work with C and B. We're gonna bring C over B, then we're gonna bring B over C and loop it under, and we're gonna make our knot. And then here you're gonna space it out again, just like about there. And we're gonna bring B over C again and under, and tighten that one. Again, make sure that this is nice and tight, because once you put the wood ring around it, you want it to pull nicely on the string. There we go. And now you're gonna create this knot going all the way around. So here we created the knot and we have 2 strands left over. We're not gonna work with these strands. We're gonna move on to these next 2 knots and work with these 4, and then so on and so on until you finish the 3rd layer. So now that you created the full circle of knots, you see that you have a knot and then 2 single strands. What you're gonna do is you're gonna work with the single strands now. So we're gonna use this single strand with the single strand from this knot. Okay, so now that you finished your layer, you're gonna do your final layer. And so again, you're gonna work just how we've been doing. You're gonna work with these 2 knots and you're going to grab the inner strings. So if we're working with these, we have A, B, C, and D. You're gonna grab C and B, C over B, then B over C and under, just like all the other knots that we've been doing for our layers. And you're gonna go ahead and make, again, B over C and under, and pull through. Just like that. And now you're gonna go all the way around again, working with the 2 knots here, here, and here. So now that you've created your last layer, we still have these single strands. And just like the other layers, we're gonna combine the single strands to make your final flower pattern. And once we're done with that, we're gonna go ahead and put it on the wooden ring. Okay, so now that you've finished your pattern in the inside, what we're gonna do is we have our wooden ring and we're gonna tighten these knots around the ring here. So at the end, it's gonna stretch out so that your pattern is seen. So if we start off first with this bottom one, what you wanna do is you're gonna grab the left strand and it's gonna go under the wood, and go over, and you're gonna pull it through. Just like that. Then you're gonna do it one more time. So it goes over and under, and it'll go right through this hole right here. And you're gonna just tighten this. That, and you're gonna do the same thing with this one. And you're gonna do it one more time. So now you're gonna do that to all the knots here. So at the end, there should be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you're gonna tighten those to the wood. Okay, so now that you have your your pattern tied onto your wooden ring. If you see here, there's some spaces here, which is fine. If you didn't want these spaces, all you had to do is do another layer of the knots that we've been doing, and you would just do that all the way around. So these 3 knots are the long ones. Now we're gonna work with this top one. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab, loop this around, and pull through. And now you have somewhere to hang your dream catcher from. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to cut these 4 strands here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to glue right through here with your wood glue. And you're going to just push that down. This might get a little bit messy, so you might want to get a napkin. You're going to glue that, and you're going to do the same thing for this one here.
Just like that.
And you're going to do that for this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, so now that you've glued your top 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and cut these excess strands off. So you're gonna go just like that. You want to cut these strands once your glue has set. So if the glue is still wet, you don't want to cut these yet. And then the one that we made the knot, we're going to go ahead and cut these. So now what you're going to do is you're going to grab the bundle that has 9 pieces of strands, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put them all in here. So I'll show you an example. You're gonna grab one of these strands, find the middle. You're going to loop it under and over, and then you're gonna pull through here. Now you're gonna do that for the rest of the strands. So you're gonna weave them all through here. Okay, so now that you have attached all the 9 strands, make sure that you separate them or spread them out, so that there's no wood showing. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a braid here in the middle. What you're gonna do is you're gonna skip 6 strands. So 2, 4, and 6. We won't be using these. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab these 2 strands here. We're gonna create the exact same knot that we've been doing. So we're gonna bring this strand, we wanna label them A and B. A is gonna go over B. Now B is in your left hand. Now you're gonna bring B over A and under it. and pull B with your left hand to create our knot. Now we're going to do the same thing. Bring B over A, loop it under, and pull. And you want to make sure that you're pulling the knot that it creates this pattern here. Okay, now we have B on this side and A here. We're going to use A with this new strand next to it. Same thing, we're going to bring it over. And then we're going to bring this new strand over A and loop under. Here we go. It will not come all the way up to the top. You want to let some strand here. Just make sure that this strand is straight and tight. Now do the same thing. Over and under. Now we're working with this one again, with the new strand. We are going to do this going all the way down to the middle, and then we're going to work on the right side of the dream catcher as well. And we're also going to not work with these first 6 strands. We're going to have these 2 right here. Bring it over. Then this outside strand is going to go up and under and pull toward to the top. So again, we're going to work this all the way in until we get to the middle. We're just going to continue that. Okay, so now that we did our first layer, we're going to do this 2 more times. So now you're going to start with the outside one, just like what we did with the same pattern. Okay, so now that you've done braiding the inside part of your dream catcher, we're gonna work on this outside part. So you're gonna work with these 4 strands here, and you're gonna work with these 4 strands here. So to start off, we're gonna work on the left side. I'm gonna show you how to do this one right here. And then I'm going to show you how to do one here, and you're just going to continue it until you reach the ends of your strands. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab the outside strand, and you're going to make kind of like a triangle here. You're going to bring this last strand over it. So it kind of looks like a 4, if you see it this way. Now what you're going to do is you're going to lift these 2 middle strands and loop this strand over. Just like that. Then you're just going to pull the outside strands just like that. So again, we're gonna make the 4, bring the last strand over, the one that just crossed, lift the 2 middle strands, and bring the strand that you just went over under it. Pull that through. And there you go. There it is. So you're gonna do 6 of these. As you're gonna do your pattern, you see that it's starting to twist. Now, the one that you have on the left, the outside strands here, I'm working with this one, you're gonna bring it to the right, like that. So if I go back, we were here. This one on your left hand is gonna go towards your right, and the one on your right hand is gonna go towards the left through the back, just like that. And now you're just gonna continue doing the pattern. So we make the 4, bring this one over and under. And you're gonna do 6 of those. And every 6, you're gonna flip it, and you're gonna flip it. So if we look on this side, we have our 4 strands. We're gonna make our 4. This is gonna be like a flipped 4. Bring the inside one over and under. Exact same thing as the other side, it's just mirrored, which means opposite. And again, you're gonna do 6. And whichever way your cord is twisting, that's the way it's gonna flip. So I'm gonna do one more time. Make our 4. Goes under. And we tighten. So again, work with 6, and then you're gonna flip it. Work with 6, and you're gonna flip it. Once you start getting towards the bottom of your strand, what you're gonna do is you're gonna add in feathers, and you're just gonna do the same pattern, and you're just gonna weave in with your feather here. So I'm gonna place it as if it's part of the middle strands. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and continue this all the way to the bottom. Okay, so now that you have your strands and you braided them, added your feathers, what you're gonna do is you're gonna cut the excess strands. So here, I'm just gonna snip those off. So now you have your 2 braids and this inside part. So now here you can get creative with however you want. I like to make mine to go into like a V form. You can also add more braids if you want, add more feathers. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to grab my ruler And I'm going to make a diagonal line so that I could cut my strands in a pretty even shape. So I want these two to be my longest strands. And you want to line these up. They're even. And so let's say I want to make my end point here. So we're going to grab our marker. I'm going to go make that line there. I'm going to go ahead and mark this right about there. And so now I'm going to cut down like this. I don't have to make the line on the opposite side because I can just grab this side with this one. Just make sure you have the right one. So the outside with the outside. I'm gonna bring them together and have them meet in the middle. I'm going to snip them here. Get rid of those. I'll work with the second one. There we have our dream catcher. So like I said, here in the center, you can just make it your own. It's your own dream catcher. So if you want to add more braids, add some more feathers, then you can go ahead and do that. You can add a feather right about here, just tighten them here. All you have to do is just make like a shoelace knot right here. If you want to add that extra feather, I like mine just like how it is right now. And so that is your dream catcher. Thanks for hanging in there, guys. We know that this was a very complicated craft, but we know that your dream catcher is gonna look amazing regardless.
We would love to see your creations, so please tag us on Instagram at Redwood City Library. And for the latest events, please go to redwoodcity.org/summerlearning.
And if you'd like to join in on our Teen Connect program tomorrow, please sign up on the Eventbrite page link that we have in the description below. See you next week.
See ya.